My name is Alexndre Freire. I'm a computer scientist, and I'm now finishing my master's on agile software development. And so far, I've worked in many things, and for a couple of years now, for the last 4 years, I've been interacting with this larger group of people beyond the scope of pure software development. I started on this free culture movement thing through free software. So about 6 years ago, we got together a small group at the university, and we started developing some software that we thought was cool, and we created this collective which was called the Arca, which was kind of all our software had animal names. It was kind of a play with Noah's Ark, and then we did some web tools and stuff that we used at the university, and then the group started growing, and we started talking more with people from outside the University of São Paulo, and then from outside São Paulo as well, and we went to the FISLI, the International Free Software Festival, and we started meeting some people, and I got really interested in what else was going on that was following the same new modes of production that I saw in the free software world. The fact that people were developing stuff that they made freely available with the source code, so people could learn and modify. And then I met these guys here, Ricardo and Felipe, and started looking into media tática and meta reciclagem. And then we kind of started working together on this project that we wanted to put to make it go through the government, right? So we started developing the conceptual basis of the Cultural Hotspots project, and it was a very interesting process. It took about 2 years of voluntary work, and we started organizing this so that we had a wiki and a mailing list, and it was an open process, and people could just come in and collaborate. And it was interesting in the beginning because since we're talking about the concept of a project, lots of creativity and lots of a diversity of inputs was going on, and I thought it was really interesting to come out with the idea that we came out with was something that was really interesting. But then we finally got the project inside the Ministry of Culture, and we started to implement it. And obviously when you're doing something that you wrote, it turns out differently. So we worked for about 3 years. I mean, the people are still working on the project. I left because I had to finish my thesis, my master's thesis now, just at the end of last year. And but the thing is that we realized that we had high ambitions for what we could do inside the government, and in the end, its own structure kind of limited our action, and it kind of made us have to productify what we were doing. And then it ended up being the only thing that they understood inside the government was that we did nice workshops. So then we had to do a contract where we have to do lots of workshops all over the country. And I mean, that's a part of it, but that's not all of it. So I guess out of this frustration, we started realizing that we were an international group of young people that are looking into new ways of doing things and new ways of working together. And right now, this is what excites me most: is getting our people together to just go around and visit different contexts and think of how to apply what we're learning and how to document it so that we can continue learning and growing and everything. And this all through a cultural perspective. We don't think it's just technology or software or even meta reciclagem or technical media or free radio. No, it is just a whole new cultural approach to working and living together and doing research. And I think that I hope that it will be possible for us to make money and continue doing our work, and at the same time doing something that has a social impact, but that makes sense to us as well. It's not just a product, and it's not just something that we're selling, but something that we're actually growing with. I think the question is, how can do we have any viable plan of actually doing what we're supposed to do instead of just transforming into a product that we can sell and therefore live by selling this. The thing is that we're not really sure, but I think we can achieve a certain level of independence. And I think dealing with the government, the thing that we need is more maturity to realize that we're a very large group of people, and that they are in a position of spending all of this public money and organizing these projects, but they're incompetent and not as agile as we are. I think we can continue working with free software and art and developing technology without and social impact, without the support of exclusive support of the government. I think it's important that we do act politically, and that we have presence in all of these programs, because I think that we are the only thing that actually make them consistent. So there's like 3 big digital inclusion projects in the Brazilian government right now: the cultural hotspots, the GESAC program, and then Casas Brasil. And the only thing that they have in common that's consistent is that the same group of young people that were already, activists and artists and free software developers are working on the 2 projects, and we kind of move about. So there are people that have worked on cultural hotspots on GESAC and are now working on Casas Brasil. But I think it's really important for us to realize that this is just one way of acting, making sure that the government is consistently spending its public funding. But it's very frustrating as well. And if this is our only resource, then we're fucked. So we have to look into other ways. We have to look into ways that we can, one of the things that interests me most is actually doing artistic and technological research without having to develop a project. Having the ability to, for 6 months, I'm just going to do research and somebody has to pay my bills. And I think that we can develop a decentralized network and actually get this happening, and getting funding from other sources as well, from international call for projects and everything. That's why we're trying to set up this center, so that we can actually go after funding from other sources other than just the government. And as for business models, I think it's not. The thing that's interesting is that nobody here is really interested in making money. We're more interested in spending it. So, in the sense that our goal is not profit and never will be. The thing is that we want to have enough money so that we can continue working. And we're going to invest in ourselves, and we're going to invest in our equipment, and we're going to invest in having meetings and getting together and going around. So that maybe the thing is that we never take it seriously, that we should go after companies and maybe selling products, because we can be great at creating products. We have ex-marketing gurus that gave up show business and everything, but if we want, we can just have an afternoon talk about something, so this is a product that we could sell. But the thing is that we talk about it and we play about it, but we don't actually go out and then, we're going to sell it, we're really going to do it. There's a small subset of principles and values that we all share worldwide. So I know you from Croatia, I know some people in Italy, I know some people in London, I know some people in the USA. I know people all over the world that are practically struggling with the same issues. And then some use Ubuntu, some use Debian, and that shouldn't be the case of the that's not the point at all. It's just that if we realize that we're actually working towards creating a new way of changing knowledge and creating, then we could definitely organize something that's international. And with the experience that we have here, maybe if the Croatian government wants a project, we can remix the project that we did here and learn from our mistakes here and try to adapt it there. We're trying to do this in Italy as well. There's these 2 friends of ours, Oriana and Francesca, that actually got a connection inside the government now, in the region where Rome is. and they're going to set up something that's similar to what we did. There's some laboratories and everything. And what I think that can be really interesting is once this starts to happen internationally, we can create this exchange. So maybe I can go and stay there for a couple of months and talk about what we did, and then they can come here, and this will only make these projects better, I guess. We can exchange all of the experience, but also we can learn from the different contexts. I imagine that in Croatia it would be, I've never been there, it must be completely crazy from what I'm used to here. And obviously I have nothing to say about Croatia and what should be done there, because I don't have this experience. But I bet that there's a lot of things in common that we can share.